it's all about embracing that change. That gray area that you feel like you're at, like you want to do it but you don't know, that's when you do it.
Welcome to the first episode of Cultivating the Masses. My name is Bryler from CultureTalent, and in this episode, I managed to sit down with one of my good friends back in university who is now leading one of the fastest growing running community, Brand New Waves. We talk about what are the steps he took when he first started the journey, and also how it escalated to a bigger vision. And also, what are the steps he took to work his way up towards his goals. This is a production of Renegade Radio in collaboration with KNA. Hope you enjoyed this episode. What's up, man? What's good?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. I'm feeling good. Feeling great. Thanks for having me, man.
Oh, man, I don't know when was the last time we actually sat together, dude. On the same table.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the last time was probably when we were still back in UITM.
Oh, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was probably a long time ago, man. Dude, when I knew you back from UITM, you were a very different person from who you are today, man. Like, I'll just give a quick example of how I know Adam back then and how Adam is today.
Yeah, let me hear it.
Yeah. Dude, the Adam I know back then was all about party, having fun,
my God.
and it was all about the swag. But now seeing this change that you've made towards yourself is really inspiring, man. And I think it inspires a lot of people too, which is why we brought you over today to actually discuss about that side of the story, man. And I think a lot of people don't know what happened in between because it seems so sudden. And I feel like it's a great story to tell to our audiences. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. A long time ago, we go way back.
Yeah, man.
You know, we go way back, diploma days and all that. So it was a very different time. It was a very we were searching for our souls. You know, we were looking for ourselves. So we tried on a lot of different things, and it's been crazy. We can definitely see the growth. Look at you now.
Yeah,
look at what you're doing now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I remember we used to like there's this one video that we did on YouTube where you were playing the guitar, and I was like,
you were rapping, and we had another guy singing for us.
I think
it was a Hari Raya song.
It was a
Hari,
it
was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was nuts, bro. Like it's seeing the transition. Everybody, I think the whole energy shifted from there to what it is right now. It's amazing to see, bro.
Yeah, man. It's amazing to see the changes that happens within everyone, you know?
Mm-hmm.
First thing I want to know from you is that when did you actually first start to think about the lifestyle that you wanted, creating the life that you wanted? What was the breakthrough moment that you really felt like you really wanted to make a change in your life? Was there some emotional breakthrough or physical breakthrough that you actually went through on your own to actually make this lifestyle that you're having currently? Because the Adam I knew is different, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not lie about that.
Yeah, let's not forget about that.
Yeah.
But that's true. I think everything that you've mentioned, emotional breakthrough, physical breakthrough, I think every single aspect of my life changed in a matter of like I couldn't really pinpoint like a time, but it was always there at the back of my head. You know, it was always there. Like when I was there, I knew that okay, I needed to get out of this place. I needed to do something with my life. But I just I just stayed. I didn't do anything about it. You know, I was I was just being reckless with my life and just hurting myself more and more every day. And then I realized that, man, like, how long am I gonna do this? Because I realized that if I keep doing this, I know that it's not gonna be healthy for me in the future. I couldn't foresee myself like 10 years ahead. The thing is that I couldn't see myself growing from where I am at the moment. So it was a slow process. I wouldn't say that it happened just like in the
instantly.
It definitely didn't happen like instantly. It took a lot of time. It took a lot of understanding what I want to do with my life. It took a lot of like going back to square one, repurpose every single thing, and one step at a time. That's about it, man.
Is it okay if you can actually go into detail? Like you mentioned that it's right that it's emotional breakthrough, right? But is it okay if you actually go into detail, if you don't mind sharing, what was that emotional emotional feeling that really caused you to do that, like in detail? Was it specifically the smoking part or the drinking part or anything in this matter?
I think let's start with smoking and drinking.
Right.
You know, like smoking and drinking, especially smoking. For me, it was me stopping smoking. I stopped smoking, by the way, like about 2 years and a half.
Yeah, congrats,
So,
man.
me stopping smoking was a very spiritual decision. Like it was a form of goodbye to that lifestyle that I had before, and I went on cold turkey, like just and then I picked up like sports and all that. But if we want to go like into details about what really happened emotionally, was that like I was in a very dark place. Like I wasn't there. There definitely weren't. There were definitely things that I did that I wasn't really proud of. I was in a lot of darkness at the time,
Right.
and there was a lot of guilt. There was a lot of fear and anger. And if I'm like scared or what I'm fearing of actually was myself. I was scared of myself.
Right.
I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. I went Britney at the I went bald. I went Britney. So I really, like, at one point, Gado, I'm gonna tell you that, like, I really couldn't look at myself in the mirror at one point. Like I couldn't. So that's why I just changed my whole appearance. Like,
Right.
that really happened. Like, I didn't know like how I can explain to you, but that really happened. I couldn't look at myself, and I couldn't, like, when I wake up, I just felt like, man, like, it's so hard. And step by step, and that's when I realized, like, slowly I take myself out of there. I stopped smoking. I started to pick up a new habit. I went around and like, get out of my dense circle of friends, and I was off social media for a little bit, just
Right.
repurpose everything. Yeah.
Okay, when you mentioned picking up new habits, I just want to know, how do you know which one works for you and which doesn't? Yeah, how do you actually filter that part out? Because a lot of people, like, when they want to stop smoking, for example, right, they'll take on chips, chewing gums just to
Yeah.
kick off the habit. But
Yeah.
for you, what was the steps like for you to know what works for you and what doesn't?
Yeah, I think there were a lot of trial and errors, lah. Definitely. Like I said, it didn't happen like instantly. I think what took a while was the trial and errors. Like I went traveling. I met a lot of
Right,
new
right.
people, and I think if running was definitely the one thing that I've always been doing. Like I was exposed to sports at a very young age, and sports is nothing that it's nothing new to me. So the funny thing was that I come back to that. Like, my life had expanded to, like, it went out of my way, out of my circle of the things that I know, and then for some funny reason I come back to that element that I'm familiar with, and that's where I'm good at, actually. And that's when I started picking up, like, okay, like running. And the funny thing was that I started running because I wanted to lose weight.
Right.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's real. And then when I lost weight, when it worked,
Right.
I'm like, hey, like, I'm playing football a lot better when I'm skinnier. So I played
Right.
football, and then I
Right.
went back to football, and then I realized that with all of this strength and conditioning, it made my run faster.
Mm-hmm.
Then I run more, and I played football more. That's the elevation. It made me addicted to the whole process. Like, it elevates me to becoming a better player. So it makes me
Right.
feel good, and
Right.
then and when you play better, then you'll run faster. You perform better. It makes me feel better.
Mhm.
So that's the kind of elevation that honestly took a while, but it worked.
Yeah, that's great, man. Like, if you don't mind sharing, I just want to ask something a little bit more personal, right? Like, what was your weight when you start running, and what is it right now, dude? Like, let's get casual on that side.
I remember weighing myself Britney days. Britney days. I was like 88. Yeah.
88.
I was 88.
Oh,
yeah.
damn.
Yeah. And when I started running, when I lost like tremendous amount of weight, I was like, what, 75?
Right now?
Right now, I'm like 78.
Oh, okay.
That's not
Alright.
too bad.
I mean,
right?
that's not too
yeah,
bad.
that's not too bad. Yeah.
That's quite a good size.
But yeah, 88 to 75 was a huge jump. It was huge for me because, see, I've always been round. You've seen me before.
Yeah.
I've always been like round. Like if you really know me, I was a chubby kid, and so seeing that happen, it really changed my life, lah.
Yeah.
To say the least.
But to be honest, when you were still chubby, if you might say that way, right?
Yeah.
You were still pretty good at football, man. I still remember when we were playing back in university, right? Where you would play futsal with us and all that. And for a guy your size, you were good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You were good, man.
That's definitely something that like I mentioned, it was something. It was there. Like I was exposed in sports, in particular football, at a very young age. So it's always been there. It's just somehow you just lost track of it, I guess.
Right. How did you actually get into this running, into this fitness community, and when did it actually begin? When I say when, I want to know, like, was it after your uni days or was it before that? How did you get into fitness and when did that begin?
Yeah. Like I mentioned just now, it was something that was always there. Even when I went through all those things, I was still playing football. I was still running actually, but it wasn't something that it was a different run lah, basically. I do it for a very different reason. And I guess after everything that happened, it was one step at a time. Like I wanted to lose weight, and I knew that that was one of the ways to lose weight. And at the time, I was introduced to this running group called We Be Thirsty.
Right.
Yeah. So
We Be Thirsty.
yeah. So I've always it's always they're always there, and I've always wanted to join them, but I've just been giving excuses to myself. And then one day I'm just like, hey, I'm gonna come down. And I came down, and I sort of like got addicted. It just linked up to a lot of things. And when I run with them, you feel good running with a group of people.
Right.
You meet a lot of friends,
Right.
and then like it was always there. It's just that I took it to a whole another direction. Like I do it, like I run. Like I can say right now to you that running is something spiritual to me. Like whenever I run, like not all the time, but sometimes I dedicate this run to something. Like
Right.
I'm running this because I just did something. I just did my exams. I just did my whole semester. It was a mess. It was good. Whatever reasons it is, that's why I run. So it makes it a lot more meaningful in that sense.
Right.
Yeah. And that's how I really got like into like this whole running thing, because
Right.
it's not just on the surface level. It really changed my life. So it matters a lot. And that's how slowly and gradually I started to like just giving out this energy to different people, to social media, on my Instagram especially. And yeah, that's about it, man.
What you said right there earlier, when you said it's something spiritual,
Yeah.
when you said like you look at it as something that is some sort of a self-reward, if you might say.
Yeah,
That is
correct.
actually a very unique way of viewing it, because most of the people, including me myself, right? I'm not a runner, man. I'm not very good at that. Whenever it comes to running, I'm like, the first thing that pops in my head is like, how many laps are we gonna do, man? I'm gonna run out of breath, you know?
Yeah.
Like, people look at it as a burden, but you, on the other hand, you look at it as something sort of like a blessing to be able to run, Like,
yeah.
it's really great to hear that coming from you, man. That's,
man.
to be honest, that really puts me on a different
Yeah.
perspective.
Yeah.
I might consider running.
That's
Yeah.
the whole point. I
Yeah.
mean, like looking at it from a different perspective.
Right.
That's it changes everything. Like, and I read a book. It's called "What I Talk About When I Talk About Running." It's by Haruki Murakami, and there was one line in the book that made me like yo, this is why I did it. So it says some people run to fill a void.
Mm-hmm.
Some people run to acquire a void. That changes the whole game for me
Wow.
because like sometimes I run to when I first started running, I wanted to lose weight, but then I
Right.
realized that I had no reasons anymore to run. But then it made me want to fulfill that self achievement. I want to feel
Right.
good doing it.
Right.
So that's just crazy. That's just changed my whole perspective. And when that happens, it's just crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Changes
man.
my life,
that's,
man.
That's powerful, right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. You hold some sort of like a position where whatever you do, people tend to follow, right?
Right.
I think like
Really?
I think you're in that position where you hold this kind of image where whatever you do, it's cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Right. So I just want to know, what would be the advice would you give to individuals that are trying to break through the noise?
Right.
Break through the noise of
The
people
noise.
around,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The noise. Is there a secret formula coming from you? I mean, like, let me just take a quick example. When you were running with We Be Thirsty, right?
Yeah.
I think you made quite a lot of impact on that running community itself. Like,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people start joining again,
Mhm.
right? And then when you start Brand New Waves, I mean, it only started with, I believe it's only like a few of you.
Yeah.
And
correct.
now when I see on your Instagram story,
Yeah.
Mifzal's story,
Yeah.
shout out Mifzal,
Yeah.
right? And you start seeing like there was people keep coming, like
Mhm.
it's growing. So what would be that advice would you give if someone is trying to break through the noise?
The secret formula is in each and every one of you. Like, there isn't any blueprint for success or
Mhm.
whatever coolness that you want to achieve. It's all
Right.
inside of you. And the most important thing for me, I always emphasize this, is that just set your intentions. Always, that's the square one. That should be your first step. If your first step is like going to the left, so you might not make it till the end. You might not sustain. And why I say that, because your intention creates your reality.
Right.
It's a very strong message.
Yep.
And like, I started Brand New Waves because I want to inspire people to come out and run.
Right.
It's not about Brand New Waves is not about, we are not going to tell you how to run. We're most likely to invite you to come and run, and that's it.
Right.
It's very
Pretty
inviting.
straightforward.
Pretty straightforward. Like, just come out and run. That's about it. And there is no first or last runner.
Right.
It's not a race. Like, the most important thing for everybody to understand that you finish the run, I finished the run, he finished the run, she finished the run, everybody finished the run, and that's about
great,
it.
man.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, when you start Brand New Waves, have you ever collaborated with other people, and does it help you along the way when it comes to that part?
Wow, yeah, definitely. I wouldn't be here if I didn't sit down with a bunch of people talking about taking this somewhere.
Right.
And I remember when it was nothing. I literally just thought about doing it. I was writing stuff down, and Roshan called me. Shout out Roshan from Saturday Selects. He called me up, and he wants to do something with me in Ramadan, which I already had planned at the
Right.
time. So I got off the phone with him. Like, we had a 5 minutes conversation, and I hung up the phone, and I immediately called my friend, like a close friend of mine, and I asked him, like, hey man, like, there's this guy that wanna collaborate with me. Should I do it? Because at the time, I was really like selfish with Brand New Waves. Like, this is my baby. I don't want
Right.
to. I don't want to share this.
Right,
with
right.
the quote. I don't want to share this
You
with
were
anyone
being
else.
romantic.
I was being romantic with Brand New
Right.
Wave, definitely. And then he said the smartest thing, and I think he said the right thing at the right time. He told me that you just be open to collaborate. Be open to collaborate.
Yep.
And things will come your way. And I got off the phone with Takif. I immediately called Roshan. Dude, I'm on my way to you right now. So we had, and I was from Shah Alam at the time. I got off the phone with Roshan. I went straight to Bangsa. We sat down and speak about what this and all that. And then later that night, that's when the Instagram page was up.
Ah.
Yeah. So the message is that collaboration is I wouldn't be here literally. Like I met, like, not even like with Roshan only, I met up with like a bunch of other brands and other people that really guided me in forming this brand new ways. Like I have ideas of how I want it, but I may not know how, like the way, the micro stuff, and they really helped me, just guide me through. And thanks guys, if you guys are listening. I can't name every one of you, but you guys know who you are.
Yep. I think they know who they are.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier on this podcast, right, that a lot of people seem to be making excuses, you yourself included. Back then, you keep making excuses. A lot of people say when it comes to fitness and stuff, right, they always give this statement about, I don't have enough time. What would you say to that?
We don't have enough time. It's I always say this when people give like, I can't, like, I want to do it but I can't, I want to do this but I can't, right. I want to do that but I can't make it. My response is this, like, if it's important enough to you, you'll make time for it.
Right.
If you really want it, you'll make time for it. Literally, if you're so busy but you know that it's important to you, you'll make time for it. And that's why I keep inviting people to come and run, because most of the runners have never experienced this before, running with a group, with music, with friends. So once they have tried it, they understand that, hey, like, this makes me feel good. I want to schedule this next week.
Right.
So it's important enough for you to, like, put it on your schedule, and because you know how it feels like, how it makes you feel, not just on the inside but on the exterior. It makes you feel good. Yeah, that would be my response.
Right. It's more of like, what you're trying to say is more of like, you do you, man.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Every time.
So you can't force someone.
Yeah, I can't. Really, I'm. Trust me, a lot of people have been coming up to me and say that I want to come, but I can't make it. So I'm just like, it gets to a point where I'm like, you know what? If it's fine, it's really fine.
Yep.
Because if you want to come and run, you'll come and run.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's gonna happen because you're already thinking about it. You're already like, I want to go, but you can't. But you will.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You said this thing is a very spiritual thing for you.
Right.
But do things tend to fall away from you from time to time? Like, that's a pretty spiritual thing, right? Like, let's say maybe you were running and then you relapse and then you don't feel like running anymore.
Yeah.
Something like that.
All the time.
Yeah?
All the time. Like, that happens a lot, actually. Like, even if you're working, even if you do anything, if you do it a lot of times, you'll tend to, like,
relapse. Yeah.
Relapse. You'll tend to burn out. And I guess when you do it a lot of times, you'll understand. Like, for me, when you're running, you listen to your body a lot. Like, this is the pace where I can run fast, so I'm gonna stay here. So when you listen to your body, when you listen to that, like, like the little voice inside your head, you'll understand that you're burning out. So when you're burning out, that's when you're like rest lah. Like, there are definitely days when I wake up that, man, we are not running today. That's definitely those kind of days.
Right.
Like, that's real. But that doesn't. If you have to rest today, just rest.
Yeah.
It's fine, because recovery is a part of your journey as well. If you don't, like, if you just run all the way, then you're just gonna crash and burn.
Definitely, man. The reason why I asked that is because when people, especially at this modern era, right, people tend to see things based from a certain angle only, and they don't see, like, the true journey behind it, right? And reason why I ask is actually to know whether there's a phase of you relapsing at the same time, because people might be seeing on social media saying that you've been running. Of course, that's important to show, but it's also important to show that sometimes a rest is very necessary.
Yeah. Whenever I run, I post it up. But whenever I'm recovering, I post it up as well.
Yeah,
because
good,
that's
man.
equally important.
Yes.
Like, when I run, I will say stuff like, like, are you running today and all that. But when I'm recovering, I'll do the same thing.
Yeah.
Recovery. This is what I do. This is what you got to do. You know, and it's a very important element because when you're burning out, what matters is how you react to it, how you respond to that. Because if you prolong that process, it's gonna take a while for you to come back. So that's when that's when it takes a lot of time. You know, so when you're burning out, Google whatever, ask your friends. If you don't know, try to recover, and I promise you'll come back stronger.
Moving forward, what experiments that you have done to get to where you're at today?
Experiments, huh?
Yep.
I went through a lot of things, like I mentioned earlier, trials and errors. Everything links up to one another. I start off with running with losing weight.
Right.
That's how it started, right? So, and then I ran, and then I was good at something else. It was football. And then I realized that, hey, like, I want to run next week. And then I start to schedule it next week. So when I schedule for a run on Tuesday, automatically I want to know what's going on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Right.
And then I started to write things down. I started to schedule my week, which is so weird because I never write things before.
Right.
And then when I started running, I started writing. It's a whole weird thing. Like I started like, okay, I have a run on Tuesday, but what's going on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? So I list down all my week. This is what I'm doing. Wednesday I'm gonna do this. Thursday maybe I'm gonna run again. So you know what's going to happen. So that's when I really started to like manage my life from scratch. You know,
and it all started from running.
It all started from running
to lose weight.
Yeah, it links up. It's a crazy thing. Really, it's life changing, but it's a really funny story. And when I started writing, and then I would plan months ahead. I would plan this. I would plan that, and you feel good when you know what's going on in your life in a short term lah. Or long term, whatever. If you really plan your life, like for me, that works for me. Like I really plan my week, I plan my month, I plan my year, what I'm going to achieve, what I want to achieve. So knowing all of that stuff really makes me feel like, all right, this is where I am, this is what I want to do, and I'm gonna do it. You know, so that's how for me I stay consistent.
Right.
You know, that's why you see me like run every week because
you've already you have already had it planned.
It's real.
Yeah. Crazy. Okay, just before we wrap up, I think I have a few more questions to go with before we end this wonderful podcast session with Adam, that fake Tony.
Oh boy.
All right, what advice would you give to your younger self if you have the opportunity to meet your younger self?
Oh boy.
Yeah, let's go real deep on the spiritual thing.
Man, what do I say to him? What do I want to say to him? He did everything. I would say this. It's tough now, but you'll make it.
Right.
That's what I'll say to him, because I spent a lot of time while I was there worrying about like what's gonna happen next. You know, like it stressed me out. Like.
Right.
And that's what I would tell him.
That's great.
Yeah, it's hard, but you'll make it, bro. Take it easy.
All right, cool. What's the simplest advice that you think is most important to follow?
If it's one thing that you want to take away from this podcast interview, is that powerful message that I mentioned earlier, which was, your intention creates your reality. It's spiritual. I think the most important thing is your niyat lah, your number one, your step number one. Once you get that one right, step 2, step 3. It's almost seemed like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right.
It will happen once you get everything right inside here. I'm pointing at my heart, by the way. You can't look at it.
Yeah.
Oh, you can look at it because there are cameras. It's here. Yeah. So yeah. That's if it's one thing that you want to take off from this interview, is that your intention creates your reality.
That's powerful, man.
Yeah.
That's really strong. All right. Last but not least, if people want to find out more about you and Brand New Waves, which is the running community that he and his friends came up with, where should we send them?
Instagram, you can follow Brand New Waves on Instagram, newwaves.rc. I repeat, newwaves.rc. And we post our runs like almost like every day. We run Tuesday nights, Thursday nights, and Sunday morning. You can check the Instagram page out for like time and place. And you can follow me on Instagram.
Shameless plugins.
Why not, right? Why not?
Why not? Actually, why not?
Yeah, you can. Yeah. That's where you can find us. It's fun. It's healthy. It's crazy vibes, crazy people. I advise you to go through all the photos because it's really fun, man. Like I'm telling you now, bro. Like if we've been getting people from different walks of life. Like you literally have like pilots, you have like lawyers, you have PRs, you have DJs, you have chefs, you name it, and these people share one thing in common, which is running. And that's crazy because it starts a whole new conversation just with running. You know, like it's crazy because once you've done running and then when you sit down with everybody, and everybody has one thing to talk about, which is running. How was your run? It was good. How was those shoes? The other day I ran 10 kilometers. It's crazy that people are actually talking about running after running.
Right.
You know? It's nuts. Yeah. That's the whole point. Like to bring everyone out. That's the whole objective. Like come out and try it out for yourself. It's all about embracing that change. That gray area that you feel like you're at, like you want to do it but you don't know. That's when you do it, you know.
Right.
Yeah. Take the leap.
All right, you guys heard that. It's newwaves.rc.
Yes, sir.
With Adam Fake Tony leading the whole pack as usual. You guys should definitely follow them. They really put out good content. It's really inspiring to see them running on like every Tuesday, is it?
Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday.
Yeah. Like it's crazy, man. Thanks, man.
No worries, bro.
Yeah, this has been such a fruitful session with you, man.
If it's my first time doing a podcast, this is my first time getting featured.
You are not alone.
I want to thank you guys. That's if I want to say something, I want to thank you, like for having me. I want to thank Afik, Azrul, you. I want to thank Kel, Renegade Radio for the hookup and this is amazing. Thank you for doing this, man.
If this episode brings you value, do share it on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, what have you, so your friends and family can gain some value too. This is a production of Renegade Radio in collaboration with KNA. Before we end this podcast, I would like to give a big thanks to each and every one of you for listening. Also a big shout out to Kelvin and Jeff from Renegade Radio, who supervised this first episode, and also Azrul, the producer. We hope you enjoy our first episode. We would like to know what your thoughts are on this show. Thanks.